When the drums of Umuode spoke. Umuode village, a place of red earth and towering palm trees, holds a deep, quiet sorrow. Here lived Adauha and Abina, 8 years married, yet their mud house remained achingly silent. No joyous sounds of children echoed in their home, only the silence of unspoken longing remained. Each morning, the village women gathered at Mamankiru's well, their hushed tones carrying painful weight. Whispers followed her like thorns. She is beautiful, but beauty without a child means nothing. Adauha pretended not to hear, but the invisible barbs found their mark deep within her heart. The weight of expectation pressed upon them, a silent burden carried through the red dust roads. Abina noticed her sorrow, the unspoken issue that overshadowed their lives. The silence in their neat home was a constant, painful echo. It was time to seek answers outside the bounds of their everyday life. The pressure intensified from Abina's family, demanding an heir for the lineage. His father warned, "A man without a child is like a tree without roots. Do something." The quest for a solution began, leading them away from familiar paths into the mysterious jungle. Their first destination was the secluded shrine of Dibia Akajiaku, hidden deep within the woods. The hut was frighteningly adorned with animal skulls, cowries, and potent, mysterious charms. The spiritual leader, at Dibia Akajiaku, welcomed them with a voice like crumbling stone. He claimed to know their affliction before a word was spoken. "Your wife's womb is locked." The price for unlocking it was a black cock and 10,000 naira. Rituals followed. Libation poured, red cloths tied around Adauha's waist for blessing. He confidently declared a hopeful future. "Go home and expect triplets." Hope blossomed briefly, but after months passed, the silence in their home persisted. The healer's promise of triplets faded into the background noise of village whispers. Their first destination was the secluded shrine of Dibia Akajiaku, hidden deep within the woods. The prophet, garbed in a brilliant white robe and a startling red cape, dominated the sanctuary. He boomed prophecies of unseen enemies. "Your enemies from your mother's village have swallowed your children." He demanded they sow a dangerous seed to provoke divine intervention, requiring 60,000. Abina handed over a significant sum, sacrificing their remaining savings for hope. The ritual climaxed with the lavish anointing of oil upon Adauha's head. She was saturated, her entire body shone conspicuously under the intense stage lighting. They left the church feeling spiritually cleansed, but physically heavy with expectation. Weeks turned into months, and the expected pregnancy failed to materialize again. The last of their funds were now gone, replaced only by profound disappointment. Their final recourse was to seek out the renowned herbalist, Mama Herbal Roots, in a nearby settlement. Mama Herbal Roots presented them with a fearsome, bitter concoction of leaves and roots. The drink was notoriously awful, Adauha cried as she forced down the mixture of bitter leaves. Yet, after the roots, the herbs, and the healing oils, our hope finally fractured completely. Their resources were depleted, leaving only the raw, painful void where a child should be. One suffocating evening, during the dry, dusty Harmattan season, despair settled over Umuode. Adauha sat alone beneath the old Udara tree, seeking solace in the fading light. The moon began its slow ascent, casting an ethereal, cold silver glow across the dusty landscape. She looked heavenward and questioned the divine silence. "Chukwu, have you abandoned me?" Her silent prayers turned into visible sorrow, her tears staining the parched, red earth. Suddenly, piercing the desolate quiet, the village church bell began to toll. It was not Sunday, nor was it the scheduled hour for evening service. The sound was entirely unexpected. A strange, undeniable spiritual pull tugged sharply at Adauha's weary heart. She slowly wiped the evidence of her despair from her eyes. With tentative steps, she rose from the shadow of the ancient tree. She began walking toward the small, mud-walled structure where the mysterious sound originated. Entering the small church, the interior was dark, illuminated only by a single flickering light source. She found only one person within, Mama Chinyere, the village's revered prayer warrior. The old woman softly beat the talking drum, singing an ancient, heartfelt Igbo worship song. The song invoked the divine, "Chukwu nke nyere ndu, li nwaya," God who gives life, look upon your child. Overwhelmed by the moment, Adauha collapsed before the altar, her weeping loud and unrestrained. Mama Chinyere gently ceased drumming and placed a comforting hand upon Adauha's trembling shoulder. The elder offered wisdom. "My daughter, why do you run to men when the Creator waits for you?" She urged her to seek the Father directly. "Kneel and speak to your Father." Right there, Adauha poured out her soul a prayer born not of eloquence, but of sheer, broken surrender. As she finished, the whole church seemed to warm perceptibly around her. A gentle, peaceful breeze, inexplicably blowing indoors, brushed past her face, bringing clarity. For the first time in years, a genuine, fragile sense of hope settled within her spirit. 9 months later, the silence in the house of Adauha and Abina was replaced by a newborn's cry. Adauha looked at her son, Chukwuebuka, a miracle born not of rituals, but of surrender. The news spread like wildfire across Umuode. The childless couple was blessed. The celebration was immense. Drumming started spontaneously near the compound entrance. Papa Rochi arrived, his stern face softened by profound, tearful relief. He approached the new mother, not with demands, but with blessings for the heir, Chukwuebuka. The victory was clear. Their faith, nurtured in darkness, had finally brought forth fruit. Mama Chinyere stood, her voice resonating with conviction over the quiet sanctuary. She declared a divine timeline. "Before the next harvest season, people will hear your joy." Adauha returned home irrevocably changed by the encounter in the quiet church. Her first act of faith was decisive. she tore the ritual charms the Dibia had given her. Next, she destroyed the relics of false hope, burning the white cloth from the aggressive prophet. She poured away the bitter herbs and roots, emptying the last remnants of worldly medicine down the soil. With firm resolve, she declared her new commitment: from today, I will seek God alone. Atabina witnessed his wife's transformation, and immediately chose to join her new path. The couple established a sacred routine, praying together every night after sundown. Their devotion was simple yet profound, singing praise to the one they now fully trusted. They poured their hope, not into rituals or money, but into unwavering faith in God's promise. 2 months into their new commitment, the rhythm of their quiet faith was suddenly interrupted. It was the time of the New Yam festival preparations, yet Atadauha began feeling strange waves of dizziness. She couldn't stand for long, and the familiar smell of burning firewood caused an instant wave of nausea. Initially, Atadauha dismissed the symptoms as a return of the harsh harmattan malaria. Convinced something was truly wrong, they made the journey to the local health center. Inside, the young nurse, wearing a clean white uniform, reviewed the chart with a professional air. The nurse looked up, and her face broke into a wide, genuine smile, radiating unexpected joy. The words that shattered 8 years of silence were delivered with warm congratulations. Adoa, congratulations, you are with child, the nurse exclaimed. The impossible had happened, confirming the spiritual promise made under the light of the talking drum. When the miraculous news traveled through Umuod, the entire village erupted in immediate, powerful excitement. Women, casting aside their burdens, began to dance with vibrant energy, wrappers tied tightly around their waists. The men responded by beating the talking drums with renewed vigor, proclaiming the good tidings. Children, caught up in the euphoria, ran through the streets shouting the simple, wonderful proclamation. Even those who had previously mocked and whispered now approached the couple with genuine smiles. Papa Ochi, who had so often pressed Atabina for an heir, was visibly moved. The elder's stoicism broke, and tears of profound joy streamed down his face. He declared loudly, his voice thick with emotion, "My lineage will not end. God has remembered us." Atabina and Atadauha watched the outpouring of love, feeling their own hearts swell with gratitude. The silence that haunted their mud house was officially broken by the sounds of Umuode's happiness. The village's collective spirit seemed to rally around the promise of new life. They knew that faith, not money or roots, had brought this blessing home. 9 full months passed, marking the duration of the waiting and the blossoming of faith. It happened precisely at the early morning cockcrow, the traditional time of beginnings and revelations. Inside the house, Atadauha went into labor, her strong efforts mirroring her spiritual journey. The sounds of effort transitioned, after a moment of intense quiet, into something new. A beautiful baby boy entered the world, healthy and strong, fulfilling the prophecy. They named him Chukwuebuka, a name declaring that indeed, God is great. Atadauha looked down at her son, tears of profound, absolute joy tracing paths on her cheeks. She whispered her realization over her son's head: "When the world failed me, God remembered me." Atabina, overcome, held his wife and child close, confirming their shared testimony. He whispered, acknowledging the spiritual victory, "Our story is proof that God is still God." The news of Chukwuebuka's birth triggered an immediate full-scale celebration across Umuod. Palm wine, tapped fresh that morning, flowed freely from large clay pots for everyone present. Drummers, having rested briefly, resumed their talking drums, beating rhythms that lasted until sunset. The women raised their voices in the traditional ululation, a high-pitched, trilling sound of pure happiness. The prophet from the Blue Church offered a blessing, acknowledging the power of faith. The elders of the village, including Papa Ochi, approached to give their formal blessings to the child. Mama Chinyere stood nearby, her smile a quiet affirmation that her faith-led counsel was correct. The newly named Chukwuebuka slept peacefully, unaware of the long journey his arrival represented. The quiet house of Abina and Adoha was finally filled with the vibrant sounds of laughter and singing. The ultimate lesson was clear to all Umuod: God had remembered them, and their joy was abundant. The laughter and songs became the new, permanent soundtrack of their home. Atabina watches them, a look of profound contentment replacing the years of worry. The footsteps of a child, once longed for, now marked the passage of their blessed days. In Umuode, they remembered that true miracles come when the heart turns toward the Creator.